Mm, mm. Would you look at this? Would you look at this picture? A picture speaks 1,000 words.
This is culturally inappropriate.
That's right. But welcome to the DY Prods channel. I'm your guy, DY Fly. And Jalen Hurts has broken his silence by saying nothing and posting a picture. Now, we're going to talk about this. We're going to break this down to the molecule. But I just want to address the people who were very dismissive in what I had to say and, who couldn't really see beyond what the Eagles were telling us. Okay? And maybe our relationship as you, the listener, and me, the content creator, can have a better understanding of where we're trying to take this. Okay? No tinfoil needed. Number one, I am not a hot take artist. Okay? I am not here for a shock value. In fact, I'll tell you that I have strong pattern recognition skills. Okay? I've lived my whole life like this. My family will tell you, my friends will tell you, oh yeah, D, he be calling some shit. He be calling some shit. Whether good or bad. But we sit and we watch things play out and it happens. Now, I'm not always going to be right. Ain't nobody always right. But I'm going to be in the ballpark. Yeah. And sometimes only I can put a little paint where it ain't and where most can't. So when I say Jalen Hurts is in a hostile work environment, you might think I'm reaching. When I say we need to watch how Nick, Howie, and Jeffrey is conducting business, you might think I'm reaching. And when I say the Eagles are being run like a corporation, I'm not just pulling this out of my ass. I'm telling you what I know because I've seen it. It looks familiar, okay? And why do I say that they're running it like a corporation? Because they put Jalen Hurts on a PIP. Do you know what a PIP is? Listen, if you've never worked in corporate, just sit back, relax. I'm trying to explain something to you, okay? You might learn something. But a PIP is a performance improvement plan. I've never been put on a PIP, all right? Honest to God, I've never been put on a PIP, but I've seen people who have. I've seen it. And usually people who get put on a PIP, their jobs want to get rid of them. And then they just start documenting everything. They'll give them tasks and deadlines. They'll just start giving you a whole bunch of stuff to do, but they can move the goalposts whenever they want. So they'll tell you to do a project, but they will purposely withhold information and just, you turn it in and they'll ask you, oh, well, where's this part of the project? And you'll be like, well, you didn't mention anything about that. And they look at you like you should have known, And just to put it in layman's terms, it's like when you have a girlfriend and she asks you for flowers, you bring her flowers, and then she says, we're the Sour Patch Kids. And you say, well, you didn't mention anything about Sour Patch Kids. And she says to you, well, you should have known. That's where Jalen Hurts is. They've overhauled the offense with the first-time play caller. He's in his 7th year. He has another first-year play caller. I don't care how good Sean Mannion is, all right? I hope he's good. I hope he does well. But he is still a first-time play caller. Sean Mannion will be learning on the job, and everyone is projecting best-case scenario for him out the gate. Like he's going to be cooking with grease, like he's, quote-unquote, Sean McVay. And Jalen better execute. I've never seen anything like this. And this is being billed as a make-it-or-break-it year for Jalen Hurts. It's crazy to me. So we take a look at this picture, right? And we see Scott Loeffler, former Eagles quarterback coach, working out with Jalen Hurts. Now, why in the world would he waste his valuable, precious time to work out with a guy that's uncoachable? Why would he do that? And why would Jalen Hurts post this picture on his own IG? Why would he do that? I've heard some people say to take a shot at the media. And my question is to you is, do you even know your quarterback? Jalen Hurts doesn't give two shits about the media. Okay? Or at least responding to the media. He might use what they say as fuel to prove them wrong on the field, but he's not responding to them from his own IG. No, he's not doing that. This is to the front office. Like I said before, clear as day. And people are disco dancing around it because it's draft week. Why are the people that Jalen Hurts endorses, why are they off the team? Scott Loeffler, fired. Brian Johnson, fired. Didn't even get to finish the season like Kevin Patullo. Jeff Stoutland, gone. And I keep going back to this Jeff Stoutland thing because it's very important, man. You have to realize that so much stuff has happened that it's easy to forget details of how we got here. Okay? Everybody remembers that Jeff Stoutland was demoted All right. He was demoted during the season. That's not the problem. The problem is Nick didn't tell him. Nick didn't tell him. Jeff Stoutland had to figure it out while Nick and Kevin just went on as business as usual. That's nasty work. That's disgusting. And that's why I lost a lot of respect for Nick, because he couldn't talk to him like a man. He did some foul ass, snake ass, scumbag shit. You can go through my channel though. I've supported Nick when everybody wanted his head on a spike. But now he's dead to me. I'm on his ass. And remember Jeff Stoutland's letter when he left, that was to us, y'all. That wasn't to the organization. That was to us. But you see this picture? Jalen Hurts has realized that he's in the Game of Thrones. Yes, he has entered the great game.
You're in the great game now.
And this picture is cool. This picture is cool. It's a nice little chess piece. He gets to communicate without actually speaking. And trust me, I am a practicer of brushing dirt off your shoulder. I trust me, I am. But like the late, great Sinful the Peace said, you can't pimp past everything. You can't pimp past everything, man. You got to address some shit. And the reason why is because they're playing with your name and they're playing with your reputation. Okay? They're playing with your name and they're playing with your reputation. And if you read The Art of War, then you know you have to protect that at all costs. You have to protect that at all costs. Now, my suggestion to him, since he wants to be like Mike, he needs to find his Ahmad Rashad and have a sit-down interview. Have a sit-down interview so you can clear the air. All right? And you can control the questions or what have you. Do what you need to do, but you need to sit down, clear the air, and let people know where you at. Because a smear campaign just went on for 2 weeks. And he can answer the questions in Jalenisms, with quotes from Winston Churchill and Confucius or whoever, right? He can do that. But one thing I will suggest is you can't sit down with Taylor Rooks. No, you cannot sit down with Taylor Rooks, even though Taylor Rooks is fine as hell. And I don't mind seeing Taylor Rooks on television. But that's exactly why you can't have Taylor Rooks do the interview, because of the perception. People are going to say, of course, he had fine ass Taylor Rooks asking him the question. Ladies love Cool J. Ladies love Cool Jalen, right? And that'll be the topic of conversation. And that's going to deviate from the message that he's trying to get across. That's why he can't do it with Taylor Rooks. So he needs to find his Ahmad Rashad and have a sit down. And usually with protecting your reputation, other people can speak up for you and you don't have to say anything. Now, we saw that CJGJ, he came out and he said something cool. And we saw that Tank Bigsby, he's been with the team all of 7 minutes. He said something, right? Jahan Dotson, he said something. And we've seen him and Smitty, they've been running around together. We've seen Saquon and him, they've been seeing out together, so we know they cool, right? But I'm not going to lie, it would have been nice to see more people stick up for him. It would have been nice to see some of the old lines stick up for him. We already know how Lane feels about him, but a guy like Lane Johnson, he'll post googly eyes in a minute. It would have been nice to see him tweet something. Jordan Mailata, we know how Jordan Mailata feels about Jalen. But yesterday's words can't fight today's battles. We need to fight today's battle. We need somebody to stand up. All these guys are under 30, so they're on social media. And the one person that could have put a kibosh on all this, AJ who's getting his ass tore up by Eagles fans right now. God damn. He could have put a kibosh on all this. That's supposed to be your boy, right? That's your quarterback, right? You're going to be with the team, right? Philly's your home, right? We've seen him liking photos, liking posts, jumping in the speakeasy comments, saying, hey, why don't y'all talk about something else? He ain't got no problem. When he feels something, he'll tweet out something or comment on something whenever he's feeling it. I guess he wasn't feeling his so-called boy getting drugged through the mud. I guess he wasn't really feeling to stick up for him, huh? For the AJ Brown people, I guess they still cool, huh? Yeah, all right. And like I said before, man, I said send his ass to Cleveland. Lessons need to be learned. If I ever break up with somebody, I'm not wishing them ill will. I'm not wishing them ill will, man. That's not how I roll. But I will say this. If they happen to get hit by a bus, they probably had it coming, man. They probably had it coming. And I'm not going to the funeral. I just But yeah, I'm not going to trash AJ. We got a ring. He got a ring. Now he wants to go stat chase on those Jello pudding knees. So, best of luck to him, man. Best of luck to him. I'm not going to trash him. Just good luck. Let's talk about the front office, though. Howie Roseman. He had a chance to stick up for his quarterback. Nah, those reports are false. We love Jalen. He's our franchise quarterback for years to come. But no, he gets up there and he starts speaking in tongues. Then the fans got to interpret what he's saying. Oh, nah, man. What Howie really meant was, what? What are we talking about, man? What happened to let your yay be yay and let your nay be nay? So he gets up there and he starts tap dancing like Gregory Hines, does a little soft shoe and a James Brown shuffle. Rest in peace to the Godfather's soul. And then ends it with, it's unfair. What? And then he's sitting there with the mute button on Nick. And Nick, at this point, I'm just looking at Nick. He is low-hanging fruit. He's low-hanging fruit, okay? I'm telling y'all, I am on Nick's ass, okay? I got a Timberland boot. Listen. If Nick smiles wrong in a press conference, I'm on his ass, okay? I'm on his ass. Last year was completely unacceptable. And Howie is allowing this to go on. And I'm going to get to Jeffrey in a second. But nobody wants to speak on Howie because it's draft week and we know he's going to do his thing. But two things can be true at once. Two things can be true at once. He can do his thing and he can be very good at his job, but he also might be pushing out Jalen Hurts. And I'm not going to lie, y'all, I'm going to be tight. I'm going to be tight if that happens. Usually I'm detached from players and I understand it's a business. And don't get me wrong, Brian Dawkins is my guy. That's my favorite Eagle of all time. I almost passed out when I found out he was going to the Broncos, but I understood. But Jalen is different, man. Jalen is different. To be honest, it's probably the Super Bowl that we lost. In that game, I've said it before, but in that game, I got to see the team that I love on the biggest stage with my quarterback, and my cousin was playing the drums for Rihanna. Come on, shout out to Mike, right? I got to see my cousin on the biggest stage with my favorite team, with my quarterback. I'll never forget that night, man. And though we lost, I wasn't sure where we were going to go from there. But when I found out that Jalen changed the background to his phone, man, I'm like, we going back. Now, I didn't think it was going to be that soon. Honestly, I didn't think it was going to be that soon, but 2 years later, it don't get no better than that. I'm riding with Jalen. Yes, I do believe Jalen's going to play well, but you think Jalen's going to forget about this? You think Jalen's going to give them a discount next year when he plays well? That discount when he said don't screw the team, you think that don't screw the team is going to happen next year? We're going to find out. We're going to see, but we got to talk about it. Because the way we've handled this AJ situation, I don't want to have a circular conversations about Jalen the way we did AJ. The signs were all there. Okay? Some chose to acknowledge it. Some chose not to. But the signs are there for this Jalen situation. And if you think this AJ situation is bad, next year is going to be pure chaos. If Jalen decides, say if Jalen plays well, people are talking about if he doesn't play well, but if he plays well and he decides to bend the organization over and say, pay me my money, like Stewie slapped up Bryant.
Don't make a fool out of me, man. Don't make a fool out of me. I want my money. I want my money, man.
During contract time next year, you think he's going to forget about this fiasco? And what if he decides to hit him over the head? You think the team will just let him walk? They might just let him walk. We don't know. It's a lot of stuff going on, man. There's a lot of scenarios that can happen. But Howie, we need to watch Howie because he's good at what he does. But what I've learned recently is that it's okay to have an ego. It's okay to have an ego. You just can't let your ego run your whole shit. All right? You can't let your ego run you in the way that you operate. Now, has Howie's ego / shadow, has that completely taken over? It remains to be seen. It remains to be seen. But I know he's feeling himself if he's thinking, well, I did it with Dougie P and Carson Wentz / Nick Foles. I did it with Sirianni and Hurts. I can do it with another coach quarterback combo. But I'm telling you now, if he tries to push out Jalen Hurts, I'm going to be tight. I'm not going to lie. I'm going to be tight. And Jeffrey, where does Jeffrey stand in all this? Jeffrey is playing the middle, okay? Jeffrey, he's in a win-win situation. basically. Now, he used his leverage of the public and their perception of him and Jalen's relationship. Jalen has come out publicly and spoken highly and thanked Jeffrey Lurie for taking a chance on him. Jeffrey knows that. So Jeffrey comes out. He speaks very highly of Jalen Hurts, a couple hours before the hit piece comes out. And let me say this. I wholeheartedly believe that Jeffrey really does love Jalen. I think he likes him as a person. I think he likes him as a leader, as a representative of the team. But at the same time, he's already delivered the ring. Jalen's already delivered the ring, and Jeffrey Lurie is on record saying that he wants a high-flying offense. So Jeffrey Lurie's hands are up like, y'all heard me. I said I love Jalen Hurts, right? You see how they already brought in a new system, first-time play caller, so he gets to learn on the job. If Jalen Hurts succeeds, then they can think about re-signing him or extending him. If he doesn't reach their expectations, then Howie becomes the bad guy by letting him go. And Jeffrey just says, well, we had to move on. We have to do what's best for the team. What numbers does he have to hit? Does he have to hit certain numbers and win a couple playoff games? Does he have to hit numbers and win a Super Bowl? We don't know. Why? Because he's on a pip. That's why I said I don't give a shit what Jeffrey's talking about. Actions speak louder than words. Everybody's actions have spoken louder than words. Everybody's. Jalen, AJ, Nick, Jeffrey, Howie, everybody. As far as the draft goes, man, we got so many draft needs. We essentially need 4 offensive linemen. Kenyon Sadiq, I would love Kenyon Sadiq if we didn't have so many needs. We got safety. I don't think we'll take a safety in the first round, but Kenyon Sadiq, he's a 2-for-1. A backup to Dallas Goedert and a big body speed freak that can, you put him in that 11 jersey, he might start looking like AJ Brown, right? I don't know. That maybe we shouldn't do that. Maybe that might give Jalen PTSD, but we can use him as a receiver, that flex option. I would love to see us get him, but if we can't or if we don't, I won't be mad because we got so many needs, man. Everybody on the offensive line other than Jordan Mailata, we need to shore that up. We need to shore that up because Landon Dickerson, Cam Jurgens, man, if hanging on by a thread was a person, god damn. And then Tyler Steen, are we going to bring back Mekhi Becton? Possibly. I don't know. It remains to be seen. But listen, that's all I got. I just wanted to make sure we're all on one accord that, this is on the horizon. This will be the talk of next season. And if we get any more hit pieces, depending on the timing, I'm assuming that it came from Nick, Howie, and Jeffrey. I'm on all their asses. I'm on Nick's ass. I'm on Howie's ass. I'm on Jeffrey's ass. I'm on all of them. All right? But that's all I got. Howie, you better be perfect, man. Don't F around with Jalen and do your thing during the draft. Go Birds. I have a hard time believing that Jeffrey is oblivious to everything that's going on in his organization.